Are you excited? Are you ready to read some more from our Thomas Edison book? I'm enjoying this book so much. It has all kinds of interesting facts in it about Thomas Edison. He also had another man that he worked with, Marconi. And Marconi was an Italian inventor. He was an electrical engineer, and they worked together on projects. He was a personal friend of Edison, and because of their friendship, Edison made these patents available to him rather than to competitors who offered more money. Thus, these patents enabled Marconi to become recognized as the inventor of the wireless telegraph. If you remember, in one of our other video sessions, we talked about patents and how many patents. Thomas Edison had 1,093 patents. That means he invented that many things that he had patents for, but he invented a lot more than that even. So he worked with other people. He was not a lone inventor, as some people thought, but he worked with other people, and he worked in his laboratory. I showed you pictures of it yesterday in here about how he worked in this laboratory, and he made lots of different inventions there, and he had other people helping him. They worked together many long hours. So today we have a lot of things that we can be thankful to Thomas Edison for, because he didn't give up. So when you have trouble figuring something out in school, then make sure you ask someone to help you. Ask a friend to help you. Ask your teacher. Ask your parent or some other person that knows how to do it. Don't give up. He just kept working. He kept wanting to invent things. And so he decided that we had candles, and we still use candles today to light. And we had, back then they had gas lamps, and we use oil lamps today, but he decided he wanted to come up with something that was better. So he came up with the incandescent light bulb so that we can turn it on when we have electricity and we have bright light. So we have Thomas Edison to thank for that. So in 1879, he worked on that and he perfected it, it said, in his laboratory there in New Jersey. Although others had worked on that project for a long time, the product evolved in his laboratory. After thousands of experiments, he just kept at it. He had dispelled night. He got rid of the darkness with the light of his lamp. And so we enjoy that light today, and we're very thankful for that. So he invented lots of things. One of the things that he wanted to work on at the turn of the century, Edison propelled himself into one of the greatest sagas of science, his search for an acidless battery. Okay, we have batteries. This is a battery that I use for a flashlight. We have small batteries that we use for different things. We have batteries that we use in our watch. I have a big battery that I use in my car. So we really need batteries. We didn't really know it back then, of course, but today we use them all the time. So they laughed at him. They thought it wasn't possible that he could come up with a battery that wouldn't corrode and wouldn't destroy itself. But Edison wouldn't be denied. He just kept trying and he kept trying. And finally, he came up with a battery. Here's a picture of a battery that they had back then. It was a big battery. His success in this quest, as in most of what he accomplished, came through persistence, hard effort, and teamwork. After 10 years of exhaustive experimentation, he produced the alkaline storage battery, which today is employed in hundreds of industrial applications, such as providing power for mine haulage and intra-plant transportation, and in railroad train lighting. So many things that we use batteries for. So there were lots of honors that Thomas Edison received by persons, societies, countries throughout the world. He became so famous. To him, such things were nice to have, but were not to be sought after. He could never get over being embarrassed when some new medal came his way. He was a very humble person, evidently. But one of his greatest honors was yet to come. On October 20th, 1928, he was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, the nation's highest award in recognition of services rendered. When presenting to Edison the United States Congressional Medal, President Calvin Coolidge said, "Noble, kindly servant of the United States and benefactor of mankind, may you long be spared to continue your work and to inspire those who will carry forward your torch." So we're inspired today by the works of Edison. A year later, on October 21st, 1929, it was the 50th anniversary of his invention of the incandescent lamp. He was honored in a ceremony by Herbert Hoover, which was then the president of the United States. He was honored by Henry Ford, a famous inventor, Albert Einstein, who was very famous, and other world figures when he reenacted the making of his first practical incandescent lamp. So he received lots of honors, but it's sad that many of the history books do not say much about him. So he worked hard and he kept at it. At the age of 80, he was launched on another great experiment. Can you imagine? 80 years old and he's still working hard. He had a lot of things that he wanted to accomplish, and he did. Remembering his nation's lack of preparedness for World War I, he attacked the problem of devising a method for domestic production of rubber so that in the event of another war, the United States would not be dependent on foreign sources for their vital materials. From goldenrod grown in his experimental gardens at Fort Myers, Florida, Edison was to produce rubber before his death. Rubber is what tires are made out of. So he was instrumental in making rubber for our tires on our cars and buses today. But he passed away peacefully in West Orange, New Jersey on October 18th, 1931. He was 84 years old. His lifetime had embraced 4 wars and as many depressions. His achievements, more so than most any one man, had helped lift America to where it is today. So just remember that Thomas Edison was a famous person, but it wasn't easy for him. He just kept trying and trying. So sometimes things are not easy for you. They're not easy for you to get to school. You don't have the materials that you might need, but just keep trying, just like Thomas Edison. And we're so happy that he kept working to invent the light bulb that we can use today. So this is a really neat book. It has all kinds of neat things in it. It has pictures. I'll show you a picture. This is Thomas Edison when he was a young man. And the book has lots of pictures about what he invented, his factories, his buildings, his house that he lived in. Edison had an electric locomotive that he devised and built at his factory there in Menlo Park in 1880. He had so many things that he was responsible for. So he had a factory in a laboratory in West Orange, New Jersey, built in 1887, and he used that factory for 44 years. So here's a picture of him down here. He's working on an invention. So a lot of times he got discouraged, but he didn't give up, and that's what's encouraging to us. He had chemical work areas that he did, a chemistry lab. He had lots of famous people that he worked with. And here's a picture of him at the age of 72 in 1919. Here's another picture. He was inventing something with a scientific genius, Charles Steinmetz, and in New York. And at the bottom here, Edison momentarily reliving the days when he was a high-speed telegrapher in his late teens. Remember, he started working when he was pretty young. And so I really like this book. The next time I'll share with you some things that he did that we can be thankful for and be encouraged by today. So bye for now. I'll ask you some questions next time.